ready to get ripped. Today we're diving deep into Nick Mitchell's Your Ultimate Body Transformation Plan.
No shortcuts with this one, right?
Definitely not for the faint of heart, is it? He doesn't mince words right out of the gate. This book isn't for someone who only follows the path of least resistance.
I like that. No sugarcoating.
He lays down the law, saying you need to be all in.
Mindset before methodology.
Exactly. He starts with the mental game before the physical one. I mean, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not mentally prepared, what's the point, right?
Absolutely. And Mitchell ties this directly to seeing results.
It's you get out what you put in.
No magic pill.
No, sir. Speaking of seeing results, I mean, have you seen Glenn Parker's transformation?
Incredible, right?
15 weeks. Just 15 weeks.
A testament to Mitchell's approach.
Yeah, we'll put the before and after pictures in the show notes. Everyone has to see this.
It's proof that it's achievable.
Radical change is possible.
Makes you wonder, what's your own goal?
How far are you willing to push? Now, Mitchell doesn't throw you in the deep end right away.
Thankfully, he has some specific beginner workouts.
Workouts A and B,
It's all about building that foundation.
not jumping into crazy routines.
He even introduces supersets early on, things like front squats, then straight into lying hamstring curls.
So efficiency right from the start.
Every minute counts.
He's very specific with his workouts,
Oh, absolutely.
like beyond just the exercise.
Exercise, sets, reps, tempo, even rest periods.
He seems to really like those compound movements,
Squats, chin-ups, the works.
hitting multiple muscles at once.
Working smarter, not just harder.
Now, he mentions diet, but only briefly.
It goes deeper later.
We'll definitely get to the nitty-gritty of nutrition later. I mean, you can't transform your body without looking at what you're putting into it.
Fueling the machine.
Exactly. Before we get to the food, though, I want to talk about Mitchell's lifestyle rules.
He calls this the secret sauce.
It's about maximizing those results, not just in the gym.
Training, diet, rest.
He says, the positive effects of doing many little things right don't just add up, they multiply.
Holistic approach.
Right, everything works together. He even talks about not wasting calories, which sounds a little extreme.
It's about being intentional.
So for those 12 weeks, make choices that align with your goals.
Prioritizing muscle building.
He talks about minimizing extraneous activity.
Maxing out on rest.
So no jogging, no dancing, no sports for a bit.
He says growth happens during rest.
Makes sense, though he does say this isn't for folks aiming for body recomposition.
If fat loss is the main goal, the approach shifts a bit.
Speaking of things that are super important for growth,
Sleep?
he's a big advocate for getting enough sleep.
8 hours, ideally.
Waking up naturally, no alarm clocks.
Wouldn't that be nice?
I know, right? Although, Mitchell admits he usually only gets about 6.
Busy guy.
He says it's not optimal, especially for this intense 12-week plan.
Definitely got to prioritize those Z's.
He does have some tips, though, like a regular sleep schedule,
Cut back on the caffeine and alcohol before bed.
making sure your bedroom is dark and cool.
All simple things, but they can really help.
It's all about creating the right environment for those gains.
Exactly, and this ties back into that holistic approach.
It all comes full circle. Now, onto the heavy lifting, literally weight training.
Mitchell encourages us to think differently about weight training.
Not just lifting, but stressing those muscle fibers.
Understanding the mechanics of it all.
He talks about the mind-muscle connection, like really feeling the muscle work.
Being present in the moment, not just going through the motions.
He uses unilateral work as an example, doing single leg exercises.
Forces you to focus on the specific muscle you're targeting.
And it's not just about isolating the muscle, it's about the right squeezing and stretching too.
Squeezing on the concentric, stretching on the eccentric.
Concentric being the lifting, eccentric the lowering.
He's big on tempo too, saying, get it into your head that absolutely everything that you do during a set will affect the quality and magnitude of your results.
Every rep matters.
Absolutely, control over speed.
No rushing through it. He also debunks the myth of just hopping on the treadmill for warm-up.
Oh yeah, he's not a fan of that.
He suggests activation exercises to prep for the heavy lifting.
Getting your central nervous system fired up.
He even gives some examples like medicine ball throws, jump squats.
Priming the muscles.
Right, so you're not going in cold, and just as important as the warm-up.
Weight selection.
He's pretty blunt about it too. Weight selection dictates so much of your response to training that if you get it wrong, you may as well kiss goodbye to any sort of tangible progress.
No pressure, right?
He does offer a simplified guide, though, 5 options based on how many reps you can do.
We'll include that in the show notes. Very helpful.
Takes the guesswork out of it, which is good for anyone new to weight training.
And remember, it's not one size fits all.
Definitely. Mitchell emphasizes that. Adapt the principles to your own situation.
Listen to your body.
Okay, let's tackle the topic that everyone seems to have an opinion on. Cardio.
Ah, the great cardio debate.
So many misconceptions out there.
People thinking it makes you fat or eats away at your gains.
Mitchell sets the record straight. He starts by differentiating between cardiovascular exercise and aerobic training.
Two terms that often get used interchangeably.
But they're not the same thing.
Cardiovascular exercise is anything that challenges your heart and blood vessels.
Makes sense. It's right there in the name.
Aerobic training, on the other hand, is more specific.
Low to moderate intensity, something you can keep up for a while.
What you can still hold a conversation.
Mitchell argues that, while good for you, aerobic training isn't the most efficient way to train your cardiovascular system.
Especially if you're looking to build muscle and burn fat.
He actually says that vigorous resistance training is better for your heart than steady-state cardio,
He backs it up with studies showing resistance training improves left ventricular function.
which is a big indicator of heart health.
Turns the whole running is the only way to a healthy heart idea on its head.
He even gives an example of a high-intensity circuit,
Deadlifts, shoulder presses, pull-ups, squats.
all back-to-back with very little rest.
Really pushes both your muscles and your heart.
I love how he challenges the conventional wisdom about cardio.
Makes you think.
Definitely makes you rethink those assumptions. All right, let's pause for a second and hear from you, the listener. Have you ever fallen for any of those cardio myths?
What's your experience with cardio?
All right, on to Mitchell's 12-week plan. What stands out to me is how adaptable it is.
Oh, absolutely. He avoids rigid schedules.
It's not about following a cookie-cutter routine.
He uses what he calls foundation workouts and specialization workouts.
So, like building blocks.
Exactly. You can tailor the plan to your specific goals.
So if I want bigger arms, I can do more arm specialization workouts.
Precisely. Want broader shoulders? Focus on those.
Makes it truly personalized
It acknowledges that everyone is starting from a different place.
and has different goals.
Exactly.
He also has a whole step-by-step exercise guide,
Make sure you're doing everything with the right form.
which is super important for both results and avoiding injury.
It's not just about blindly following instructions.
It's about understanding why you're doing each exercise.
A how and the why.
And Mitchell stresses that this 12-week plan is just the beginning.
It's not a one-and-done deal.
He wants you to develop habits that you can stick with.
A lifestyle change, not just a temporary fix.
Okay, let's move on to nutrition. His approach here is refreshingly straightforward.
Especially in a world of confusing diet fads.
He cuts through the noise.
He says the real diet secret doesn't lie in the information on these pages. It lies with your desire and hunger to stick to the plan.
You can have all the knowledge, but if you don't apply it,
It's pointless.
he calls out the whole calories don't matter if you eat clean thing.
He's not a fan of that myth.
He emphasizes understanding macronutrients.
Protein, carbs, fats.
It's about where those calories are coming from.
Not all calories are created equal.
He does give guidelines for calorie intake, but
They're starting points.
you adjust based on how your body responds,
He's a big proponent of carb cycling.
which is something we'll dive into more later,
It's about optimizing your insulin sensitivity.
and fueling those workouts.
Before we get into the specifics of Mitchell's nutrition plan, though, we'd love to hear from you, the listener. Have you ever tried tracking your calories?
What was it like?
Was it helpful? A pain?
Okay, so building on that understanding of calories and macros, let's talk about nutrition for building muscle.
Mitchell points out a common mistake, not eating enough.
People are so afraid of gaining fat.
But you need fuel to grow.
He's adamant about that. He really stresses consistent calorie intake,
And prioritizing whole foods.
over supplements.
He believes real food should be the foundation.
Makes sense. He does say liquid calories can be helpful, though.
Especially if you struggle to eat enough solid food.
He even has a recipe for a calorie-packed shake.
Full-fat milk, fruit, veggies, oats, protein powder.
Sounds pretty good, though he still says real food first.
It's about giving your body the nutrients it needs.
He also talks about the role of insulin in muscle building.
And the difference between insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance.
Insulin sensitivity is how well your cells respond to insulin.
Insulin being the hormone that gets glucose into your cells?
So if you're sensitive, your cells use glucose efficiently.
Less risk of storing it as fat,
And insulin resistance is when your cells aren't responding well.
leading to higher blood sugar and
Yeah.
more fat storage
Mitchell emphasizes improving insulin sensitivity,
for maximum muscle growth.
and he suggests carb cycling and intense weight training can help with that.
It's all connected.
diet, hormones, exercises.
Speaking of which, has anyone out there struggled with getting enough calories and protein while trying to build muscle?
What were the challenges?
Now let's flip the script and talk about nutrition for fat loss.
Mitchell is pretty straightforward here. You can't outrun a bad diet.
Exercise alone won't cut it.
He has 7 key rules for fat loss.
Prioritize protein, don't fear healthy fats, start the day right with a good breakfast.
Macros over calories, choose free range when you can, eat real food, keep it simple.
Solid advice.
It's about making sustainable choices,
He also talks about carb cycling for fat loss.
adapting it for different goals.
It's all about timing and balance,
All right, let's talk about the world of supplements.
which can be a bit of a minefield.
Mitchell has a balanced view here,
He acknowledges the potential benefits.
but stresses that they should never replace real food.
Or a good training program.
He's wary of the supplement industry.
A lot of hype out there.
He encourages listeners to be discerning.
Prioritize supplements that support overall health.
Don't just chase quick fixes.
He also recognizes the financial aspect.
Supplements can be expensive,
He suggests investing in quality food first,
and then using supplements strategically.
based on your needs and budget,
He does mention some specific supplements,
like vitamin D3 and digestive enzymes.
but he stresses that those are just examples.
Personalized recommendations are always best.
It's about figuring out what works for you,
And doing your research.
choosing reputable brands.
Okay, to wrap up everything we've covered, let's distill Mitchell's wisdom into a 10-point summary.
A takeaway cheat sheet.
Your guide on this transformation journey.
First up, and this is a big one, mindset is crucial.
Commit to the process, embrace the challenges, and push your boundaries.
Second, start with the basics.
Build that foundation.
Beginner-friendly workouts. Focus on those compound movements.
Squats, chin-ups, getting the most bang for your buck.
Third, lifestyle matters.
It's about more than just the gym.
Prioritize training, diet, and rest.
Create an environment that supports your goals.
Fourth, master those movements.
Understand the mechanics of weight training.
Cultivate that mind-muscle connection.
Form and technique are key.
Fifth, cardio clarity.
Mitchell's take on it is really interesting.
Intense weight training over steady state.
Challenge those old assumptions.
Sixth, make the plan your own.
Adapt it to your needs and goals.
Foundation workouts and specialization workouts.
Create a program that works for you.
Seventh, nutrition matters.
You can't out-train a bad diet,
Fuel your body.
right? Understand those macros.
Eighth, prioritize real food.
Over supplements.
Nourish your body.
Ninth, carb cycling.
Optimize that insulin
To
sensitivity.
fuel those workouts.
And finally, 10th, think long-term.
Sustainable approach.
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
A lifelong commitment to fitness and well-being.
And there you have it, the 10 pillars of Mitchell's Ultimate Body Transformation Plan.
Your roadmap to success.
Welcome back. Before we wrap up, let's tackle some common questions folks have about Mitchell's plan.
Good idea. We get a lot of inquiries.
One big one is about meal plans. Do you absolutely have to follow a strict meal plan to see results?
Mitchell addresses that directly in his book,
He says structured plans work for some.
but others find them too restrictive.
They prefer a more flexible approach.
He includes sample plans, but
It's more about understanding the principles,
and adapting them to your own needs.
finding what works for you.
Exactly.
Another question is about supplements. Are they absolutely necessary?
We touched on that earlier.
Mitchell's stance is clear. Supplements should never replace real food.
They're meant to complement, not substitute.
He does go into detail about different supplements, though.
He encourages readers to be smart about it.
Don't just buy into the hype.
Prioritize supplements that actually benefit your health.
And he recognizes that supplements can be pricey.
He suggests focusing on quality food first.
And then strategically using supplements based on your budget.
Makes sense.
All right, so what are some actionable steps listeners can take right now?
Well, first things first, define your goals.
What are you hoping to achieve with this transformation?
Once you have that vision, look at your current lifestyle.
Where are you at now?
How do your habits align with Mitchell's principles?
Where can you make adjustments?
Start with small changes.
Gradual and sustainable.
Next, think about your weight training.
Are you using those compound movements effectively?
Are you focusing on proper form?
Choosing the right weight.
It might be helpful to get guidance from a trainer.
Make sure you're on the right track.
When it comes to nutrition, what are you eating now?
Are you getting enough protein?
Including healthy fats?
Choosing whole, unprocessed foods.
Try out carb cycling.
See how it affects your energy and workouts.
And don't forget about sleep.
Aim for those 8 hours.
Create a relaxing bedtime routine.
Stick to a consistent sleep schedule.
Most importantly, remember, this is a journey.
It's not about being perfect.
There will be ups and downs.
Plateaus and breakthroughs.
Celebrate every victory.
Stay committed, be patient, and acknowledge your progress.
We hope this deep dive into Mitchell's plan has given you the knowledge and motivation to start your own transformation.
Remember, the power to change is within you.
It's time to unlock your potential and create the body and life you want.
We're here to support you along the way.
Reach out with any questions, share your experiences, connect with us on social media.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and keep exploring with us.